morning. All right, here we go, getting started. Those of you that are joining later on in the future, that are seeing this right now, hello, welcome, glad you're here. Nobody has arrived to the Facebook Live event yet, but we will get started up. Just got our first person, hello. What I want to do first is I just want to make a link here and just get everything going. Hi, Margie. All right, so I'm gonna share this to my timeline. Why am I having, oh, here we go. All right, cool. That's okay, Margie. You know, you can watch later. Glad you're joining us. Zora, I'm not sure if she's going to be joining or not. She's been doing the school thing since 9, and I don't know how thrilled she was to be doing this particular image, although I have to tell you that this image is very meaningful for me, and I'm super stoked that we get to draw this memory from my honeymoon. Sunita and I went to Thailand. It'll be 14 years in July, and we just had such a good time there. And one of the best things we did was when we got to Chiang Mai, I mean, we didn't really have any plans for what we were going to do, but we found this cool tour company, and I think we went on a different tour almost every day that we were there. And one of the tours was to this elephant preserve, and you know, you didn't ride the elephants or anything like that. It was more about taking care of the elephants. I will say hi. Good morning, Mona. I'll tell Zora you said hello. Glad you're excited for this. Yeah, it was amazing. We went to a market at the beginning. We bought all this food, and then we brought it out to the elephant preserve. And there were people that would stay there for a week and take care of the elephants, and they would feed you. They had great vegetarian Thai food for all meals. We just stayed there for the day, but you know, I mean, these elephants were amazing, and we got to feed them, and then we led them down to the river, and then we washed them in the river, and it was a really amazing experience I'll never forget. And so as I was trying to figure out what to draw today, I just started going through old pictures, and I found this picture from our honeymoon, and I thought it would be a perfect image to draw. So we're going to get started. I'm just going to be doing this in pencil, so you can just follow right along. Hopefully you've got the image of the elephant up on your screen, and then you've got another window where you can see what I'm doing. This is the perfect time to start sort of put on some music that you find inspiring and gets you flowing. Put that on. I'm going to flip my camera and give you guys a view of my page. There we go. Yeah, it really was an amazing trip. I loved Thailand, and Chiang Mai in particular was a really beautiful city. I could have probably spent a month there and enjoyed myself. So I have my paper horizontal. You could do it vertically if you don't want to get the rest of that background in there. I mean, I'm not going to do all the background, but I do like seeing those elephants in the back. And I also like all of the dragonflies that are flying around. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dragonflies flying around in front of that elephant. It was a really beautiful valley. So if you choose to go vertical, that's fine. I'm going to go horizontal, and you can see that our biggest elephant is basically from the top to the bottom of the paper almost. I'm going to start with the body where everything connects. You can see it is I see it as kind of like a squarish shape with rounded corners. So you've got this angle here. I'll make that a little darker so you can see. And then it kind of cuts in like this. And then it comes to the front, and I'm just gonna, this guy is gonna come down like this. And it kind of comes down like this. Okay, you see how that's kind of a squarish shape, even though it is very potato-like. Okay, let's see, is that visible for you guys? Let me make it a little darker. So you guys should go as light as you can. We've talked about the lightnesses and darknesses of pencils. I would recommend like drawing your sketch or your initial drawing of shapes with a 2H, which is very light. So now I'm going to get the head in there, and you can see the head just fits right in the front. It's also kind of squarish with rounded corners, a little bit bigger at the top. And it's going to overlap a little bit. It's going to come off a little bit over here. And then you can see it doesn't come all the ways down. It comes down to about here. Kind of like this. Let me erase some of these background lines that we don't need anymore. Okay, that's not too bad. And you can see you get a little more on the left than on the right. It kind of has a dip in the middle of the head, but again, the middle is actually like coming down here, right? It's a little bit left of center. This would be kind of like where the trunk would come down, right? I like these forehead lines up here. I think are, where it kind of brings out where the brow is. This one is going to come right to almost the very edge of the head, like this. You can hear my cat in the background. And then we're going to get this one over here. It's shifted over to the left just a little bit. Right? None of this is in the center. It's all shifted left. And you can see this kind of comes around like this. And this one is like an upside down U, like that. This is a contour drawing, what we're doing here. So that puts the eyes right down here. So we can just kind of, first off, create the area that it's going to fit in. This one is sort of like a cigar shape, or like a really squished down oval on that side. This side, you kind of have this frowny mouth, and then the wrinkle underneath is like a smile, but like a really crooked smile. Kind of like that. Maybe a little lower. But that's not too bad. Okay, you can see this is where the trunk comes down. Comes right off that brow there. And then this brow is a little bit over, like this. And it's going to come down also. Should be maybe a little thicker here, I think. Get rid of this line. It's actually like pretty thick here. And then it kind of comes in. I think this is where the tusks would kind of come out. It's actually, so the face comes down a little lower here, but it kind of just slants in like that, and then it's going to continue down. And it gets smaller as you go down, and kind of goes off to the left. It's a long trunk. Wow. Okay. Ears. One on each side. I mean, you can see they're kind of triangular on the bottom. They go below the eye, kind of down towards where the chin is. So kind of like this. And you can use, somebody was asking me to talk about negative space. So this area in between where the ear and the face are, that's the negative space. So you can try to get this shape to be correct. And that might help. So that might help your drawing a little more. So that seems like that's going to be a little lower. This is kind of in the right spot, I would say. So again, triangular at the bottom. It kind of curves out a little bit, like that. And you can see that the ear is maybe just about half the distance. So like from here to here is about the size of our ear. So it's going to come out like that. It comes up. It doesn't come all the way to the top of the head. It's right to about here. And then it's just going to kind of go like that. There's one ear. Hi, Zora. Are you going to join us? No, she's going to watch. Okay. All right. I see Veronica joined us. Doug joined us. Hi, guys. Welcome. Haha, Mona. Okay. Let's get that other ear on there. It's not quite as big because it's a little bit like folded in a little bit. We're seeing it a little foreshortened. Let's see. I can see that the head itself has kind of more of a slant in this area, and then you get your little bump in there, a little more like that. We always want to make corrections as we go, as we see that we need them. Okay, so then this comes like this. Yeah. I think that looks not too shabby. All right, the ear. So it's kind of symmetrical, right? You do have that. I do think this was in just a little closer. You do have that triangular shape on this side again, more of a rounded edge on that ear instead of a corner, and then this kind of comes out about like that. And then you just have this sort of wavy line that's going to come down and meet there. That's not too shabby. Okay, I can see that this hump comes out a little bit bigger here, and then it kind of curves in. Kind of like that. You know, think of the original lines that you make as just kind of guidelines more than anything. You can change them anytime that they are not serving you right. This hump got a little big, didn't it? Okay, I'm really going to make an effort not to shake the camera too much. Sorry about that. All right. Let's move into our legs before we do any real detail stuff. So again, this is just a little bit too squarish. It's looking a little better. And then you can see he's got like a very slight curve. And it's going to start here, and it's just going to curve out to the left. It's almost as straight, but you can see it's just got a slight arch to it. And then that comes down to a knee. Right? Really long leg, huh? So you've got right around here is where you get that little curve. Again, we're kind of making the negative space here, aren't we? And it's going to come down to like an elbow, and then down like this, and then just like that. Nice smile on the bottom, like this. You can see there's these wrinkles in the skin if you want to start to put some of those things in. But that's not too bad. You can see that a little bit of the next leg back kind of comes through right in here. And then it just sort of comes up out of the grass. And it's going to come in like that. I'm going to say that, well, it's not too bad. Let's see. Here's the ear. Here's where this sort of wrinkle for his leg kind of begins. Should be kind of, yeah, that's not too bad, right? Kind of goes like that. Take this out. If you want, you can make some grass or leaves right through here. I mean, even here too, although you can see there's toes. But you could start to, you know, put leaves and grass and stuff in front. Okay. This is obviously, it's going to be a little bit longer here. Not too much. All right, let's do our first leg over here. It's just kind of got a nice gentle curve. You can see it falls behind the plants and stuff right around here. I'm just making some leaf shapes. You've got this line. It's going to come in like this. So you can see it's kind of a triangular shape. It just doesn't come to a point. In fact, this kind of comes more straight here, and there's an angle, a little slight angle that happens there. All right. Not bad. Let's see what happens when we get this other leg in there first. If that makes a difference. Right around here, it's going to come in, and then it's going to kind of come down. We can work on this negative space here. Kind of more like that. This kind of comes in a little more too here. It's almost like that. And then this guy, it almost starts all the way over here and is going to come in and then come down. Just about like that, and that's right. This is where the leaves and stuff start to cover up this leg. There's just this natural little hill that happens here. Little ridge, I guess you could say. All right. Just getting rid of excess lines here. Not too shabby. This really bows out over here on this side more than I originally saw. Let's get that a little better. All right. Let's get our baby in there. Hopefully this will be not too bad since, I mean, look, we're 20 minutes in. We've already got our main elephant on there. I think we're in pretty good shape, and we're going to get this other elephant in no problem. Let's again start with its body. You can see it's not going to be that wide because it's coming at us. It sort of starts up in here. This is a little off. Kind of goes like that. So right around here, it kind of comes up to a point, but it's rounded out, and it's just gonna. I mean, its body ends like right here. So pretty small shape. Although I think this angle, this is going to come out a little bit more like that. Okay. So let's get our head in there. You can see it's right at the bottom. And this one is more like an upside down teardrop sort of shape. So it's going to be right in here. It's going to come off a little bit on the side. And kind of like that. You see how that's like an upside down teardrop kind of? This kind of puffs out a little more on the side. God, this is such a nice little meditation for me. I hope it's the same for you. So the mouth kind of comes behind the trunk, kind of goes like that, and then you've got all this plant stuff that comes in front here and kind of comes down like this. You can see the leg. Again, here's that negative space. The negative space is making a triangle here, kind of. And then starting kind of under his chin, his leg is just coming, it's just a nice diagonal that comes like that. And then you do have this sort of like, everything gets shadowed in over here. You've got a shadow that comes along this edge, and then there's all shadow underneath here. I feel like this needs to come over just a tad. And we can just erase that line. And the ear fits right in here. You got that little negative space that's like a triangle, and then the ear itself is like a triangle. It overlaps that leg just a tad. And then it's just kind of this long J that hooks in over here. Kind of like that. And then on this side, let's see, it kind of just comes out. Ooh, a little further than that. More like that. And then this is going to come out, curve around, and it just sort of comes down like that. This is like where the eye is, the ridge. So it actually comes in just a little bit there and then becomes our trunk. And then this scoots over just a tad. The eye. Let's get that brow. You can see it's like right near the bottom of the ear is where the corner starts. Kind of like that. And then again, this is like a J under here, like a reverse J. Okay, there's our second elephant. We have a little bit of a horizon that's just grass. And bushes and stuff, right? You got these kind of tall leafed bushes over here. You can see the rear of one elephant, and we'll just kind of, he fits in over here like this. He's kind of got this peak. Like that. You can almost see like there's a little head that pokes out over here, and maybe a little bit of an ear. And then over here you just see the back, the big back of one of these guys. And it just goes like this behind him. All right. What do you think? Should I do the dragonflies? Let's at least do that. There's two big ones. There's one right here. So for the dragonfly body, I'm just gonna make kind of a little oval. It's got to be a little closer than that. Little oval, flat oval. And then you've got a wing. Right? So it's just kind of a straight line and then a little smile. And then you've got another wing. That's a straight line for the most part. And then again, a little kind of smile. And then these are much smaller. The top one is just going to be like this. A little shorter than that. So it's basically like a long, narrow triangle so it comes to a point at the end of the wing. And then this one also is like that. So there's one. And then there's this other kind of big guy over here, seen from the side. So you've got like the main, the thorax is like the biggest part. And then you've got the head, which is a little bit lower and smaller. And then you've got this long abdomen. Like that. And then all I see are like that. Maybe one's coming kind of out like this. And that's all I see there. So let's come back and start to add in some details now. This is too small. I'm going to move this over. This is not quite right. Okay, so there's that. It's like this is the brow. And then here's the actual, like, where the eye kind of fits in. And then it's like a J over here. There we go. This is going to come down. There we go. Better. So now I'm going to start to really delineate some of the darker lines and areas. I think starting with the eyes is a good idea. You kind of have this crescent that's happening here, which is like her eyelid. And then the eye itself is kind of right in here. you've got another wrinkle right underneath. And then you've got this dark line that kind of comes in like this. And then you've got another wrinkle underneath here, like this. And then this in here is dark. And then it kind of fades out. Okay. Let's move this over just a tad. There's this shadow that happens in here. We definitely have a shadow happening in here. I'm not getting super dark, right? We can always get darker. It's more difficult to make it lighter. So I start by making my darks even not that dark. Boy, it's a shaky camera. Sorry, guys. I gotta get maybe a better system than this arm that I use. All right. Because let's face it, the elephant is not white. The elephant already has its own darkness. All right, so on this side, you've got the eyelid is more here. You sort of have this area in here. And then you've got, let's see, that dark area. And then this is where, let's see, it's going to kind of flatten out a little bit. And then you're going to have the eye, which kind of fits in here, leaf-shaped. Okay. There's like this little part in here. Again, dark. And then lightening as it comes to that edge over here. All right, the ear over here, you got this part that curls over. So it's kind of, you see a little bit of the edge. It curls over. And then it just sort of becomes this dark area over here. And then this is all dark in here. ears have a really interesting kind of texture to them, really wavy. All I'm doing is copying the darker areas that I see in that ear for now. You know, as you're working, just remember that this is supposed to be fun. You're supposed to be enjoying yourself with this. It's not supposed to be something that we beat ourselves up over if it's not turning out exactly right. This is practice, you know. It's even practice for me. Even though I make art all the time, I still need practice, and especially this stuff, which I don't normally do these kind of drawings. My artwork's very different than this. But I think it's really great to sharpen your powers of observation and your ability to recreate a shape that you see. I mean, that is the basic, most basic part of how you make a drawing. All right, let's make the edge of the face a little bit big, a little bit lighter there. This is darker compared to that edge of his face, or her. I can see there's sort of this dark line. I don't know if that's her mouth, but it's right in here. And then it gets very wrinkly underneath here as we start to get into these shadows. Looks like probably her mouth comes down like that. Gets very dark back in here. It's hard to see what's going on. Oh, what happened here? I got to get my little loop that was here. You know, you start making things bigger, and then suddenly you've lost a piece of your picture that was what you needed. But that's all right. We put it back. I think we're good. We have these wrinkles. You can kind of see this bone coming down here also. So there you go, another 20 minutes, right? We put 40 minutes into this piece so far. And I doubt I'm going to finish it in an hour. But you can see how much you can get done. It's really, you can get a lot of work done just by continuing. All right. I'm sorry. I guess I may have lost you guys there. I'm really sorry about that. For some reason, it was telling me my Wi-Fi was no good, but we are back. So hopefully you're still with me. Apologize that I lost you guys there for a sec. Let's continue. I'm just going to keep on working here. Okay, let's go to this ear. So again, we have a flip over. So this kind of goes more up like this, and then it curls over, and then it stays curled over. Okay, so I can see this is colored in here. This is going to be a little dark area here. And this is a dark area here. You can see there's going to be an edge here. Okay. Except for the very edge, all this is going to be very dark in here. Oh, good, Mona. Good. Thank you. Glad you're back, too. Yes, we are running a Mickey Mouse operation here. We are not super high tech. I mean, I guess compared to 20 years ago we are, but that's everybody's high tech now. All right, there's sort of this shadow that happens in the middle of the ear. It's not super dark, but it just fits in right in here. And then also along this side. Looks like it's going to be a beautiful day here in San Diego. I hope that you guys are having good weather where you are. We're very lucky here. I looked at the forecast for the next 10 days. It's just mid-70s, sunny, partly cloudy. Just about ideal. So now I'm just starting to bring out some of the lights by going a little darker around him, like around that ridge that makes his brow there. And then same thing over here. This brow gets kind of brighter. And then there is that big kind of dirty white splotch in the middle of his head. I think he was putting mud on himself. And then this was right before we took him down to the river, I believe. You can see there are some faint lines that kind of come down on the trunk. They seem pretty much straight. Sometimes when I'm doing my shading, I'll try to mimic the contour of the leg, so make it, my shadow kind of have a curve to it. Okay. It's got these wrinkles. Okay. All right. So I think I was back here somewhere. I think we might have to bring the belly down just a tad. It's going to come down a little flatter here. And then nice and dark in here. This doesn't flare out, it just sort of comes in. A little bit of a shadow here. You can use that black to, cut into your lighter shapes, no problem. So obviously I'm going a little bit fast here. You guys should take your time. You definitely can see that there is this shadow that comes down the right side of his trunk, and there's this little bit of light here, so don't lose the edge. That is how we see that edge, is because there's a little reflected light that happens on round objects. And you can see, like, this guy's got a nice shadow right down the middle right. But the edges are brighter. And then you can see the top of the trunk here is very light, and then it gets darker on this side. Kind of jumping around a little bit, sorry about that, but it's fun. I just see things that need to be done, it's fun to take care of things and see your improvements happen right away. That's the really cool part. This is going to kind of come down. And then there's just one more. Right, these kind of all blend into each other. It gets a little darker down here. Although there is sort of this natural lighter area on the bottom here. So I'm not quite sure if that's just the color of the skin or what's going on there. And then there's a lot of other little lines. Well, I don't know what's going on outside, but there are helicopters cruising around, and lots of times you just have to figure out whether an area is lighter or darker than the area around it. It's kind of what I'm doing right now. Man, I don't know who they're looking for or what they're doing in the sky, but it is a little bit distracting, I don't mind telling you. Hopefully you're not getting too much of that sound coming over the mic of my phone. Okay. Definite shadow happening in here. Some kind of, let's see, this is going to kind of come like this. We got a little sex organ of some kind right there. A little space. This is dark. And this is very dark. Almost this whole leg here is going to be pretty dark. But you'll see as it goes down, the dark is going to stay towards the middle and the edges become a little bit lighter. And this is all just pressure sensitivity. You know, the harder I press down, the darker the mark. The more I ease off on the pressure, you get those lighter areas. Pretty dark back in here. And then we have these wrinkles that come across too. So I want to get those in. Really dark on this left side here. And then lightening as we come across. Still pretty dark except for this very edge. It lightens up a little bit. Careful not to go over your dragonfly. And I'm really feeling that these lines are more like this. All right. Let's get this backside a little bit better. You've kind of got this lighter area that comes in like this. It's got a little bulge there. This is darker. And then again, this sort of darker shape. Otherwise, pretty light on the back side, up on the top, I mean. Oh man, I'm getting low power mode already on my phone. I don't know what's going on there. Will I have enough to get through the next 5 minutes? I think so. So we didn't get as much into the smaller guy, but maybe I'll be able to get a little more in there. Let's see if we can get our little guy in here. He's kind of got a little ridge on his back. This is going to be a little darker on the left in here. Very dark in here. We have this shadow that comes up here and then kind of on the side of the hump. Let's get this fold in the ear. Dark underneath it. And then there's like this wrinkle inside the ear. It's a happy little baby. In fact, this baby elephant, when we brought him down to the river, it started floating down the river and it almost knocked into Sunita, but luckily she got out of the way. We all got wet. Okay, and then underneath here is very dark. Seeing these wrinkles. Just sort of trying to create some of these shadows that I see here. Again, just wherever I see a darker shape, I'll try to recreate the shape that I see. Baby elephant's got a bumpy head. I don't know what's going on. But I'm going to be as sort of faithful to it as I can. The head kind of has a little bit more of a point. Okay. Shadow comes down the side of the leg here. A little bit of shadow happening up here. And then it definitely lightens up as it comes forward. This ear, you've got the edge that folds over. Darken here. Let's erase what we don't need. Darken here. Okay, so you can see there's a lot of work to be done here, but we're coming right down to the wire on our time. I hope this has been fun for you. I know I didn't say much. It's usually a little bit more active when Zora's around and we can look at her stuff too. If you guys have certain things that you'd like me to talk about, you know, I don't have any notes with me, but I'd be happy to do that kind of stuff. We talked a little bit about negative space today. I want to talk a little bit about perspective in the future. Let's flip you around. I can say a proper goodbye. Thank you so much for joining me for another one of these. We'll do another one on Monday. maybe watercolor, maybe we'll do something else. I haven't decided yet. If you do have any cool images that you'd like to try to recreate in one of these, just send them my way. I've gotten a lot of good entries, or a lot of good options. Not entries, it's not a contest. Big love to you guys. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend. Stay safe and happy and healthy, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye, guys.